we know, and it's been very well documented even by Edward Norton himself, that him, Marvel Studios, Disney, and of course Universal never saw eye to eye on the direction of the Hulk, and specifically how hands-on Edward Norton was. But now we find out a little bit more in relation to this whole thing, and this comes from somebody very important to the whole Hulk thing. So this comes at us from a prominent actor in the MCU called Terry Notary. Now you might not have heard of the actor, but he's been associated with action stunts and choreography since the beginning of the MCU, and was very important when it came to the Hulk, with the Incredible Hulk, and the Hulk in general during his time working for the MCU. So in the book MCU The Reign of Marvel Studios, Terry goes on and describes what it was like to work with different actors in terms of how they are on set, what they want to do, and also what they're doing between takes and all that. He reveals something we heard rumors about but never had confirmed up until this point. Edward Norton wasn't engaged with the Hulk stuff. He had no interest in it. He was more interested in the Banner side of things, to the point where if they needed him to do some facial expressions, the transformations and all that, he didn't want to do it, which made it harder for everybody on set, and also the visual effects department, which had to work overtime to digitally manipulate his face, stretch it, try to give him some emotion, and then incorporate that into the Hulk's face because he didn't want to do it. Outside of a couple of instances, that was really it. So they would have to go in there and they would have to literally change everything. He also then talks a little bit more about Tim Roth, who played Abomination, saying he was completely the opposite. He would ask for advice. He wanted to be involved. He tried to make his character as good as possible. He would ask to see early cuts of what was happening to see if he could perform it. And that essentially the two actors were the exact opposite. Norton wanted to do his own thing. He was writing his own script rewrites. He was shooting them when the studio said we don't have time, and it was ultimately the big fallout. And as he reveals, when Edward Norton was gone, things got a little bit more streamlined and easier to do because it wasn't just one person. And we also heard about a couple things before, like where Edward Norton didn't want stand-ins, which doesn't make sense because every movie has stand-ins just about now. So very interesting. I mean, we've heard a lot about Edward Norton and how much sometimes he lacked the team player ability and why everybody was like, yeah, this guy's not going to work with the Avengers. And it kind of makes sense. The ego would have definitely clashed with the rest of them on set.